Welcome back to Factorio Ribbon World. My name is Nilaus, and I will be updating you what is going on in my base. And let's look at the base. This is, of course, the series that I'm playing over on Twitch TV. And then on a weekly basis, maybe I'll do one more than once per week to make sure that we cover all the ground. I will do a recap of what we're doing, just sort of telling the story of the evolution of this base as we struggle with bombs dropping, biters spawning, and also now we have new area uncovered. So this is the big thing that happened since last time, or at the end of the last recap. If you're only following the recap, just before we go in, I'm streaming this Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at Twitch TV/Nilaus at 8 p.m. Central European Time. So feel free to come on over. It's super cool. I love it when people come hang out, and I especially love when people come in for the first time, because that's always nice to see new faces around. Anyway, if you can't join, if you don't feel like it, you can also watch the VODs on my second channel. So there's a link in the description below to the other channel. It's called Nilaus TV here on YouTube, where I put the VODs as well. So that is, with that out of the way, let's dive into what is going on. So what happened at the end of last time was that I made some changes so that biters will now spawn, and if for every 5 subs and subscribers on Twitch, and also we will unlock these faster. That means we have more area. We got our copper situation under control, and as we get this under control, we start looking at what are the things that are not really working. And as we have more space, the big theme of this is going to be that I want to take things away from sort of having stuff here on the boss space and start progressing it out into sort of more dedicated builds, because of course this is not going to be enough green circuits for our base. I'll need to get it into both back here into the bus, but also for various other things. So the very main thing we should do is we should use some of our newfound space here to start making some green circuits. And also on top of that, now that we sort of get free of these 3 big chunks, then on this side, I think we need to make sure that we have a train line so that we can transport things both from the top and the bottom. And of course, we need then a intersection between the top and the bottom. Let's build those things, and let's see how that's going to be looking like in the next episode here. This is the area we were looking at before, and look at this glorious new build. This is still using sort of the standard build from my bus base, and coming in here we have some beacons here, but it's not the full module beacon build that we will eventually use for green circuits, but it generates pretty much 120 green circuits per second, which is nice, and that goes now into a train. We've now established our southern train line here. I hook it up over here, so you can see that if we need a green circuit, then it has to go all the way over there, up, and then go back. But there's nothing back here. Well, there is one thing. Eventually we'll need to take this one out so that we can now get green circuits in being transported. We still need copper going in, but we can just add another train for green circuits and eventually another one for red circuits, because that's really what we want to work on, is that now that we have green circuits sort of outsourced from our bus base, because then we can now get to a much higher quantity. Then we're going to start working on maybe red circuits would be a good candidate for what else we would like to do. And here we have the new green line coming back in here. I am going to do for all of these, I will be setting up the conditions so that if it is less than a certain amount, then it will open the station up with here and set train limits. No additional with max X something. It's basically like if it's lower than something, then bring in 1 train. Not all of them have been converted to this, but that is generally how we want to run our train system. It does have some limitations in terms of I don't have a stacker here, so I can't have multiple trains easily in this location, but that's a good start nonetheless. What do we have here? I left this empty, and I don't know why. Oh, I think that's maybe because I want to have some green or blue circuits in here, because that needs a lot of green, so I need it close. Yeah, that might make sense. This is our endgame build for reds, so we're really scaling it up. But what I'm going to do is I am going to use modules Mark 1, because I don't have enough. I don't have a constant module production Mark 3, and I don't have the greens, the blues, the reds in order to support a full Mark III module production. But if I build it like this, then eventually when I have it, then I can just upgrade it and it'll be performing better. Also when we have blue belts and start using blue belts. So this is basically a beaconed, but Mark 1 beacon. It is, I'd say it's pretty good. What do we get? We get 20 red circuits per second. I mean, red circuits are awful. They are really difficult to make, so it's going to take some time. What I am going to do, this is a perfect build. I can build 2 trains on top, 2 trains on the bottom. So that's going to be green inbound, red outbound, and then plastic and green circuits, plastic and copper on the up here, right? We have plastic on this one. We have copper over from here. We have green circuits. We just built that. So all of that should be ready to hook up. So let's have a look at setting this one up finally and get it operational. Now this is hooked up and it looks absolutely glorious. I really like this design. Coming in here cleanly in here, 3 lines in, 3 lines in, and 3 lines in from the other. They merge together and they go in here and we get a decent amount of red circuits coming out. We have 10K here. We also have a train line, which obviously is going to be over here. So we now have the red circuits coming back into the main base and just going in here and just filling up, and then it'll be happy. We'll be, of course, making more things that require red circuits, and then eventually we'll be running out of red circuits, as we always do. So that means green circuits and red circuits are now outsourced and brought back by trains to the main base, and we're continuing to use this location. The next thing I've also been doing is I've been out here exploring just to see. We have a bit of stone and stone here. We don't know what's on the other side, but once we get over to this location, that's when I'm going to be expanding out and sort of claiming more territory. Because if I look at this, I'd like to get the iron, but I need to have this one be the iron build facility. So that's going to take a bit of a bit of work to push out there. So it's going to take a time to do that, but that's still pretty good. What we'd like to do now is look at basically what is the worst build in our standard base. And I think this is the worst build. Just squeezed in here some low density structures that really isn't serving much purpose here. It's not big enough, it's not consuming enough, it's relying on sort of the copper from the main bus and then just filtering in here. We need a new low density structure build. We also need to take this red circuit build out because that's already been replaced out here, so that's a good thing to take that out. So I think that is a good opportunity for us to make a low density structure. I think this is a good location for low density structure. That makes perfect sense, in my opinion at least. So here we now have built our low density structure. It was not quite as I planned it to be here. I put it in here. I think I just consolidated it, and then this will be for blue circuits at a later date. This is our late game build for low density structures coming in here. We're getting 6 full lanes of red circuits come in, so I need 2 train stations, each with unloading 4. So we are going to be a heavy draw on our copper for this build. And coming in here, getting into a build, you can see I'm not using the blue belts yet, but you know, I'd like to start using the blue belts as well in soon enough. It goes in here, and plastic is now being a bit strained because plastic is also being used quite a lot here for the red circuits. And we have this. What we also have is we have bombs dropping left and right. That's one of the challenges of this one, and there we go. That is here you can see biters are spawning in my base, and then here it's 55% of a nuclear bomb, this one. So let's have a look at that. That's what it does. It takes out my location. It could be worse. I mean, in this case, it only took out 1 chest and it's iron, so that's not very valuable, but it kills the transportation lane. That's also why I'd like to have 2 train lanes so that they can sort of find their way through at a later stage when something gets nuked. In the meantime, we have lost all of this, and well, that's just kind of how this plays out. So I have to sort of anticipate when these are coming in and run away. It's part of the fun of this base here. So and because I start making a lot more module builds, things are going to be much more valuable. Also, there aren't really a whole lot of places I can run to. Of course, I can currently run to this location and hide, but eventually we'll have, if you look at the base here, how condensed it is, there really isn't any place I can safely hide because the bombs will spawn around me. You can see this one also got nuked not long ago, and we basically don't have any science production going on. We have like the teeny tiny science production going until we get that repaired. So that's one of the cool things, and something that makes the live experience much different from what happens in a YouTube Let's Play. Anyway, we got our low density structure built, and I think the next thing is trying to get this one. Now you can see here, we can push it out and probably claim all the way over here, start building the new iron facility, and from there I think it's time for also to to start looking at. Yeah, this is not great. We have lots of modules here. That was our desperate copper, but it would be nice if we had some more copper coming in on. And you can see here, the perimeter is now secured. Any wandering biters will be met by uranium-powered turrets, so no problem there. We have secured it. And what we also have is, if we run back, we have now claimed this territory out here, so we have more area. And what we also have is a beautiful iron build here. It is still coming in, and we are still using Mark 1 modules for both inputs and outputs, so these will not be full belts outbound. But it's going to be nice to see we have lots and lots of iron production now. So what we do have now, we have 2 locations for iron. We have the old one and we have the new one. What we also have is, luckily enough, there was a hype train level 5 that one person selected who won to increase the bomb size by 5%, so then they're up to 60%, but the other one graciously decided to spawn a random ore field, and this actually was so fortunate that it spawned an ore patch really close to the other copper smelting that really could need an influx of ore. So incredibly fortunate again on the spawning of resource patches. That is absolutely glorious and something we are really going to appreciate and set up. So with more iron coming in, we have more steel. We have a lot more things that we can go in. So that's a good thing. What we are kind of seeing the problems with here is the lack of plastic. Plastic is just not keeping up with both the red circuit production and as well as the low density structure production. If we look back at our plastic, this is just a very small thing. We need to make sure that we get this one much bigger and get that built. So we need to outsource our plastic build somewhere. We need to outsource this one and convert this, dedicate this location exclusively for the consumption of this amount of oil, this amount of coal into here, converting into oil, converting the oil into plastic and rocket fuel. That seems like the most reasonable next step. So this is our new expanded oil liquefaction here. It's just doubled in size, so we get a lot more. What we're going to do now is we are going to send the petroleum out here and make that available to the network. What we'll be doing out here in this location is to build and rebuild the rocket fuel, because currently we don't have rocket fuel built. So we're going to be squeezing in a bit of rocket fuel build on that location. It shouldn't be that big of a deal, but we'll get it. The reason why I want to build it here is because then I can leach some of the light oil as well, because we're going to need light oil as well as that. So leaching some of the light oil will be the good thing, but also here we have a drop off of petroleum. This will go up here and desperately try to build some more plastic. Why are we not working? Well, it's pumping as much as it can, but it does take a bit of time. Okay, you can see that it slowly filling up now, slowly filling up. You can see this is now getting full belts. Full belts here are also eventually coming. So that must be that we've just gotten a new load in here. Yeah, we're down to 56,000. I gotta make sure that we can keep up the pressure here around 1,000. And is that full? Yeah, it's maintaining full throughput. This one actually doesn't have anything. Oh, it does. It's just because it's on full belts. Anyway, as you can see, once it gets going, we have 4 full lines. So now we have 120 plastic per second. If the whole thing is going, I don't think we can actually support it, but it's a good start and definitely something we need in order for feeding our red circuits and feeding our low density structure. Look at that, they are nice and saturated. Speaking of low density structures, that's one of the things that I've decided that I'll just bring back at this location here. What we should be doing, also considering, is that we are actually now at this point using quite a lot of power. And if we look at it, sort of, this is our nuclear power up here on the blue line. It is running at 800, and 800 is actually the maximum capacity it can run at, isn't it? Or is it 1120? Yeah, but it's still getting really close. And if this one blows up because someone drops a nuke on it, then it's not going to be a good time. So it would be nice to expand our nuclear power plant, also to have a kind of bit of redundancy as well. And then I am so fortunate that there are people who help me with design. And then let's have a look at a really cool suggestion for how to integrate a nuclear plant and into an existing build right here. Here we have the new nuclear power plant. It looks very glorious. It is designed by Jeff S. So anyone who's hang out in the Twitch chat will know who that is. One of the moderators and developers of these cool features here, and also a designer of this cool design plant here. I really like it. It takes the stuff that some dead space that I didn't really know what to use for, and then converts it by landfilling around these locations, filling up with a nuclear power plant. This has the same capacity as this one. It's 8 reactors, so that is it's pretty good. And we'll can I actually do that? Oh, you can see how much we process. Interesting. Really? Hold on. Electricity. Okay, that didn't work. It was nice to, if it did. Oh yeah, they're not producing the electricity. That's why. That's why they're producing heat. I don't know if we can actually do heat. Why do we do these kind of things? Heat. Look at that. Heat. 1.12 gigawatt of heat. Nice. Which will then be converted into turbines. What we've also done is we built this location, and as you can see, we've started gradually looking at a few blue circuits here and there, or blue belts, because you can't really build this without blue belts. It's going to consume a total of 180 once it is fully saturated with the Mark III modules. This is one of those first ones that we will probably put Mark III modules on. Now, I was considering putting this on a train, but basically having a train running around 16,000 blue circuits, it's just not very practical. It's too susceptible to explosions, also what I'd have here, and it'll take too long to fill it up. So if 2 locations need blue circuits, well, they're going to be taking really long time. So what I've decided instead is I will just be ferrying those off by roboports. So we'll have the robots flying those whenever they need it. Currently not really needed for much. They're needed for the satellites, they're needed for yellow signs, and eventually they're also going to be needed for modules. So that might be the thing that we want to see. So we now have green circuits, we have red circuits, and we have blue circuits. That is a good opportunity. Also, we have now power. Good opportunity for us to start making some dedicated module production for Mark III modules. And what better place than building it here? Let's put it in here to see, to get sort of able to scale up these builds to really the end game. Here we have the module builds. This is the modules of productivity and speed modules. We are next to the nuclear power plant, which is the great place to build it. We have blue circuits coming in by robot, and then we also have red and green signs come in by trains. And we have a bomb spawning right here. That might be a really unfortunate location. If it gets that one, then it will see the whole thing come crashing down. Nope, I don't think so. I don't think I'll get it. No, it won't get it. But it took out a nice chunk. If it nukes one of the nuclear power plants, it starts a chain reaction and the whole damn thing blows up. Really, really fun little challenge. But that's something that just continuously happens here in this base. Definitely don't stand next to a nuclear power plant if you know that someone's dropping nukes on you. I think that is about as evident as don't eat yellow snow. So now you got it. You got 2 very, very important life lessons already in this video. Now, this is the last thing we want to do, the last of the ingredients for scaling up to the next step, because the next transition will be endgame signs. I want to take my signs out of my starter base. I have these little puny builds in here, red and green and blue and yellow and purple, and I want to have them out here in dedicated builds out in these areas, and then push further as we can, so that we can scale up. First, I want to scale up to about 500-600 signs per minute, and if I succeed with that, then I'm going to try to scale it up to 1,000 signs per minute for this this base. And if we succeed, then I think that will be the objective for this base, unless we run out of things that are fun to do, or if we come up with a better idea for what's happening. Anyway, as you can see, these bombs are dropping. I'll try to leave some of those in for these kind of recap videos, so you can see the fun of that. That will be something that's much more happening, the live interaction over on my live streams. And I just want to mention it, that is streaming at Factorio on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. And it's on Twitch TV/Nilaus. And I will also upload the VODs to my YouTube channel, the other YouTube channel, Nilaus TV, where I put all of my VODs from my live streams. If you can't attend, or you don't feel like it, or you want to be scrubbing through it, or you just need something to fall asleep, then those VODs are always available. Of course, I'm also streaming other things in Factorio, so do check it out and come on in and see what we got going there. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you everyone for supporting the channel either on Patreon or during these live streams. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.